Walk into a fast food kitchen today, and you'll see an assembly line where every motion is measured. Workers flip burgers, dress buns, and route orders on a schedule timed to the exact second. In modern logistics, the story is identical. Delivery drivers follow routes dictated by algorithms, while warehouse workers carry handheld scanners that monitor their picking speed in real time. We often accept this level of monitoring as an inevitable part of the job. But we have to ask, how did human beings lose their autonomy? How did we become standardized cogs in a stopwatch-driven machine? This relentless efficiency grew out of a deliberate system designed over a century ago to strip control away from the worker. Factory floors in the late 19th century operated very differently. Even with heavy machinery, production relied almost entirely on the specialized, localized knowledge of the craftsmen themselves. This created a bottleneck for owners. They wanted more output, but because the workers held all the technical expertise, those workers dictated the methods and the pace of the shop floor. Frederick Winslow Taylor looked at this power imbalance and proposed what he called a mental revolution. Taylor promised to eliminate industrial waste by applying rigid observation to labor. He believed that by measuring every tool and every motion, management could find the one best way to perform any job. This thesis defined his entire movement. In the past, the man has been first. In the future, the system must be first. The history of scientific management portrays Taylor as a solo engineering genius. He is credited with inventing high-speed tool steel, a discovery that allowed machines to cut metal at speeds that once seemed impossible. The reality check is that Taylor actually ruined 3 lathes in a row trying to figure out the steel on his own. He failed to find a solution. The breakthrough only occurred after a metallurgist named Monel White III joined a project. Just 8 days after White started, they had the formula. This is a classic case of the Matthew effect in science, where the famous figure receives the medals and the credit while the actual contributor is erased. White's expertise was vital, yet history remembers Taylor as the sole inventor. The legend of the father of scientific management was built by extracting knowledge from others and claiming it as his own invention. To maintain this control, Taylor utilized precise mechanical tools. Management took over all planning, conducting time and motion studies and issuing strict instruction cards that broke every job down into tiny, mandatory steps. Taylor claimed his greatest success at Bethlehem Steel, where he optimized a gang of pig iron handlers. He reported that his system increased their daily load from 12.5 tons per man to over 47. He selected a laborer named Henry Noll, whom he called Schmidt, as his test subject. Taylor didn't pick him for his skill. He picked him because Noll was physically strong, desperate for money, and, in Taylor's words, mentally sluggish. Taylor used intense psychological pressure to secure Noll's obedience. He demanded that Noll do exactly as he was told from morning till night, telling him precisely when to walk, when to rest, and explicitly forbidding any backtalk. While Noll's physical output increased by nearly 400%, his pay only rose by 60%. Taylor's objective science was a method of behavioral manipulation. He famously stated that a first-class pig iron handler should be so limited intellectually that he resembled an intelligent gorilla. Taylor claimed his system would end labor disputes forever, creating wealth for both owners and workers. Instead, scientific management sparked immediate global resistance. In 1910, the workers at Bethlehem Steel walked out on a massive strike to protest the grueling conditions and the bonus system Frederick Taylor had installed. Resistance crossed the Atlantic. In France, skilled mechanics at Renault went on strike to prevent their own proletarianization, refusing to let management take over their specialized tasks. These strikers fought to protect their professional status, resisting a system that threatened to de-skill them and turn them into flesh and blood automatons. Ultimately, the strikes failed to stop the stopwatch. The massive profitability and output Taylorism offered were too attractive for corporations and governments to ignore. The system's ultimate victory came through state adoption. During the First World War, the French government used Taylor's principles to manage the high-speed production of munitions. Taylor argued his system prioritized the third party, the consumer, by generating the mass-produced goods that elevated global standards of living. We live in a world of massive material wealth, But the price of that progress was the permanent theft of the craftsman's pride. Human autonomy was replaced by the relentless, inescapable authority of the stopwatch.